Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Roxy here in New York City. As you know, here on the Pace Report, I like to keep you abreast of what's happening here in the New York music scene, as well as profile and interview musicians that not only are making an important dent, but also are carrying the rich tradition of Black American music by way of jazz, blues, and gospel. Now, there is a dynamic female organist by the name of Akiko Tsuruga who hails from Osaka, Japan. And this young lady, for the last 20 years here in America, has really been mentored by some of the most prolific as well as important stalwarts of jazz. And I'm talking about guys like the late Jimmy Cobb and Grady Tate, as well as the legendary Dr. Lonnie Smith, as well as the great Donaldson. Now, we all know that the Hammond B-3 has been dominated heavily by males, and there's some great Hammond B-3 players. But Akiko really has stayed traditionally within the realms of Black American music by way of jazz, blues, and gospel, and you'll see that tonight here on the Pace Report. Now, I had a chance to sit down to break bread with her to talk about her origins growing up in Osaka, how she was exposed to the organ, as well as talk about how this music has molded her as a person and what it means for her to play this music. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of Miss Akiko Tsuruga live here at the Roxy, here in New York City. As part of the Pace Report. Akiko, I gotta ask you a question. You know, they say music is the most universal language around the world, and you hail from Japan, Osaka.
Yes.
How did you learn or come into the existence of jazz organ?
Jazz organ. Well, I learned so much organ things from Dr. Lonnie Smith. He's my mentor, my hero, and also I learned so much things when I mean, about the time I played at Showman's.
Here in Harlem.
Yes.
Now, growing up in Osaka, did you start off playing organ? Did you start playing piano? How did you come into knowing that you wanted to play the organ?
I started playing organ. My parents bought the organ when I was 3 years old.
3 years old. So your parents must have been really big jazz fans. But they must have really liked guys like Jimmy Smith, Jimmy McGriff, Lonnie Smith. They must have been listening to that when you were a baby.
Unfortunately, my parents didn't know anything about jazz, but during their dating, first organ, Yamaha organ came out in Japan, and more like popular music and background music, and they were talking if they have a kids, they had a kids, they want to take an organ lesson.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So they taught organ in school, because when people start playing any kind of instrument, as far as the keyboard, everyone the source is the piano, but you started off with the organ.
Yes, and one more reason, because of almost every Japanese houses are small, so they don't have room for the piano, and organ. That is not big organ like a Hammond M3, small organ. So my parents were afraid to buy, apply the piano.
Now, learning how to play the organ, did you accidentally learn about jazz by way of when they were teaching you in school in Japan?
No, I studied at Yamaha Music School, and they have a textbook, and textbooks were pretty amazing, because of for the beginning, I learned so many American popular music, and then I learned some jazz music, and I was so interested in jazz music. And also, my grandma, she already passed away, but she was a big fan of Toshiko Akiyoshi.
Wow.
Yeah, and she grew up in Kobe, and she said she she's she went to Louis Armstrong concert when he came to Kobe just after World War II. So she was a big jazz fan.
You know, that's funny and it's very interesting you say that, because music globally, those same notes that you learned how to play on the organ, someone from Russia, someone from Pakistan, someone from the UK, they interpret those same notes the same way.
Yes, definitely. And probably you know about Japanese history, and women always behind the men. And my grandma was trying to do like that, but she was so unique. and she wanted to do something, but she didn't have she couldn't find the way to show herself. So she was so interested in jazz, because jazz is so emotional, and they show themselves by the solo. So, and probably, every family member say that my personality is just like my grandma.
When you moved to New York, one of the first guys that you encountered was the legendary Grady Tate.
Yes.
And what were some of the things that Grady imparted on you when you first moved here as a musician, and also trying to adapt to playing the idiom of jazz?
Well, I met Grady in Osaka,
Okay.
and I played organ, and Grady said, I don't like organ. Even he came to Osaka to play with Jimmy Smith. I mean, I don't know. Probably Jimmy didn't play.
Well, there are many stories about Jimmy Smith and musicians that have played with him. In fact, there has always been a love-hate relationship between Jimmy and Grady because they're both of the same cloth, and they're both Grady could be very, very upfront, and Jimmy was very gruff and upfront as well.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, I think so. And then probably this is not the right answer, but I asked when Jimmy Smith passed away, I asked Grady to go to funeral together, and Grady said no. And then he changed his mind, and he said, okay, I'm gonna go with you. And we took a train to go Philly. And long story short, at the church, Grady was crying all the time, and Grady was complaining about Jimmy's cosmetics not right, and he was talking some story. Grady's wife Vivian used to be cooked fried chicken all the time, and Grady said, Jimmy was eating Vivian's fried chicken like a pig. And I said, yeah, okay. And Grady and also Kyoko Murata, she was like a daughter of Jimmy Smith. They are crying. So I thought that, wow, they love Jimmy so much. Right. And Grady was always complained about Jimmy, but
they loved each other. They were like brothers.
Yeah, definitely.
They were like brothers. Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, but Grady always talked about West Montgomery. Yeah, he was, and every time Grady talked about West, he started crying.
Wes is from my hometown of Indianapolis.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and Wes really brought not only a very unique voice to jazz guitar, but everybody who I know who's recorded with him has nothing but fun and beautiful things to say about Wes.
Yes, I think so. Grady said he was so busy to recording and some other things, and finally he drove and arrived to the Rudy Van Gelder, and Wes was always, so down to the earth, and hi, Grady, and Grady always feel relaxed to see West's face, and also Grady said that recordings, Jimmy Smith's big band recordings, West couldn't read, so they made like a karaoke, and West hear everything and memorize everything. Right. I said, wow, really, wow. Right. Unbelievable, amazing. Yeah.
Akiko, we talk about great organ players. We talk about guys like Fats Waller. We talk about Jimmy Smith, Jimmy McGriff. What was it about Jimmy Smith's organ playing that set the whole bar from everybody, including your mentor, Dr. Lonnie Smith?
Yeah, Jimmy, I mean, since pandemic started, I started to transcribe Jimmy, and then, my goal is people, when people hear my playing again after everything over, they said, "Oh, you are playing exactly like Jimmy." That was my goal, but it's way far because Jimmy is God. Nobody play like him, and I remember Dr. Lonnie and I and myself went to Iridium to see Jimmy Smith after he passed away. And Dr. Lonnie acted like a little boy. Yeah, I said, you are Dr. Lonnie. But yeah, he acted like, I felt that Dr. Lonnie is respect Jimmy Smith so much.
Dr. Lonnie Smith has a documentary on his life that's in the works as we speak, and you're part of the documentary. You're interviewed. First of all, tell my viewers out here how you first met Dr. Lonnie Smith, and he brings another soulful, as well as his approach is less is more when he plays the organ. It's like very few notes that he plays are very powerful.
Yes. Yes. I met Dr. Lonnie first time was at Village Vanguard. And, he played with Lou Donaldson. And Fukushi Tainaka, he's my mentor, my first mentor. And I stayed in front of the organ. And at that time, I just started playing jazz organ, and I feel like a magician. Magician have so many things from the organ, and I thought if I died and reborn, it's impossible to play like him. And then, miracle happened after the stage. Fuku introduced me to Dr. Lonnie, and he said, Hammond, Yamaha? And I said, Yamaha, but Hammond. And he said, come on. And he took me to the stage, after stage, and he said, play F blues. And he played the left hand, and I played. Right. And I thought, wow, this is Village Vanguard. Bill Evans, Coltrane, everybody played. That was the beginning. And then I met him in Osaka. They had a concert. And then I said that I met. Fukushi took doctor to the showmans when I played. Yeah. And then we started. I started chasing him. That's
crazy, because he really takes kindly to you. What are some of the things that Dr. Lonnie has imparted on you as a musician and as his mentee? What are some of the things that he prepared you for as far as carrying on the lineage of great Hammond B-3 players?
He said that just show my emotion through the organ, and show my life through the organ. He didn't say I should play like a blues scale, or he doesn't read the music. So he just played through his ear. But Brian, that is the right answer.
That is the right answer, because I was going to bring up, tonight you played a very, very emotional, spiritual, Negro spiritual, Amazing Grace. And you and Carmen alone, you transformed every emotion that someone who's white or even black that has come across that song, and it's like you made it your own.
Thank you. The organ, probably God gave me special special gift, because of when organ arrived to my house. I still remember when I was 3 years old, and the person from the music store played the organ, and I thought, this is it. And I never quit. And I switched to piano, and I went to classical music college. Piano is not my instrumental, and then I started to play jazz pianist as a jazz pianist in Osaka area. And I went to jam session, and that place had a Hammond B-3 organ. And when I played Hammond B-3 organ, I thought, this is it. Yes, this is my instrumental.
You found your calling.
Yes, 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 yes.
Let's talk about Lou Donaldson. Well, I knew you were gonna. I knew you were going. I knew you were going there because
Yes,
Lou is a very funny person.
yes,
He's warm and very candid, and he has no qualms telling you how he feels. How was your first time playing with Lou? And again, what was something that he imparted on you as as one of his mentees?
He came to Showman's when I playing, and he was staying in front of bandstand. Showman's had a long bar, and he said,
Yep, that's him.
"That's him."
That's him.
Yeah, and I remember I played with saxophone player. He was nervous, and drummer was too aggressive because of the thing he wanted to play with Lou. And after the set, he said, "Well, you sound good. You sound better than most of the guy around here. You came from Japan, and you're pretty good. But you have to working on the comping behind the home player. But I'm gonna tell you what to do. And are you available next week? I have a gig in the Jazz Mobile in Roosevelt Island." And I said, "Really?" "Yes, of course, of course, of course." Then when I played with Lou, I was so impressed because of he listened to his playing the audience.
Right.
And when I played with him, I hear his sound behind him, and I thought, wow, I play with him. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And wow, that's so great.
You know, playing organ for Lou Donaldson is a really, really big honor. I mean, when you listen to a lot of his great records that he made at Blue Note, you know, Alligator Boogaloo, him and George Benson. I mean, for you to sit in the shoes of Dr. Lonnie, that speaks volume.
Yes. You know, how can I say, I was so happy and so honored to be, kind of take over Dr. Lonnie. He's my mentor, his place, and I learned so much things from Lou. He didn't say anything, but sometimes, I feel like when he sang whiskey drinking women, I said, wow.
Yeah.
And then Lou said, Akiko, we don't need the church. No vibrate. And I just want to play straight, sing straight. And then, okay.
He knows
That's
what he
good.
wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his solo is always, he stopped throwing just right there. Yeah. And then people feel like we want to hear more.
You know, I always say that Lou Donaldson really is one of the great blues jazz saxophonists that we have. One is still living. And that soul jazz term is something that I really kind of hit or miss with, because Lou came up in an era where the blues was the roots music. And I gotta ask you, you playing the blues, do you find it easy or do you find it hard, or do you think that the blues is kind of like an added flavor to what makes jazz so great?
Blues, when I play blues, that came from my heart. Because of it, Osaka is like a soul town, like a south, as listeners said, Osaka is like a Chicago. And in fact, Osaka and Chicago is a sister cities. So blues, blues is always my heart. And it's really natural to show my emotion. So, I don't know. I never think about it. I have to play bluesy, or everything comes from my heart. Yeah, is that? That's it. Okay.
Tonight you're playing a different version of the Hammond B3. What instrument are you playing tonight, and what is it about this instrument that is almost identical to the Hammond B3?
Well, I played. I have been playing Viscount organ. That's made in Italy, and Joy De Francesco and Pat Bianchi. I think they are helping to make an organ, and I love that organ because of its simple. You know, like most of the electronic organ have a like a synthesizer, or it's not easy to use. But Viscount organ is very simple to use, and it sounds just like B3 organ. Of course, B3 organ and the electric speaker is the best, but I can't carry myself.
You do have a Hammond B3 at home, right?
Yes. And the electric speaker, yeah.
Do you take it on the road with you sometimes?
Nope.
Wow.
No.
Wow. Why is that? It's just because they don't make the B3 anymore.
They don't make B3. Yes, that's true. I can't carry B3.
It's too big.
Too big, 400 pounds, impossible. And so, I have been playing with Jeff Hamilton and Graham Dexter. So every time I play with Jeff and Graham and Lou, they rent a B3 for me. Yes. So, but sometimes, my discount sounds better. Lou Donaldson always said, if B3 sound come out, don't touch.
Now, Kiko, do you when you make your albums, do you record with the B3 or you?
Yes, of course, B3. Okay. Yes.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Roxy here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Akiko Tsuruga for her time. People, please go and support her with her upcoming events as well as her latest recording. For more information, please visit her online at akikotsuruga.com, as well as social media on Instagram as well as Facebook. Also, people, please come back and support the New York music scene, especially here at the Roxy and the Django. Also, please visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments, as well as like, share, and subscribe to this video to many of your fans, as well as people who have never seen the Pace Report. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.
style.